So we're taking a look at bonding, and in this video we're going to work on naming covalent compounds and writing formulas for covalent compounds. And you can do it if first you can identify that a compound is covalent, and then that that for covalent compounds we use prefixes. So we're going to see chemical formulas, so I want to review chemical formulas. A chemical formula tells me the elements that are in a compound. And we're going to use the element symbols and a subscript if there's more than one atom of that element. So um, C with no subscript tells me there's only one carbon. H with a 4 behind it tells me there's 4 hydrogen atoms. Now, with covalent compounds, we have to be very specific about the number of atoms that are bonding because covalent compounds have nonmetals sharing electrons, and oftentimes there are different ways that the nonmetals can share the electrons. So we're going to use prefixes to be clear about the number of each atom in the compound. And the rules for prefixes are the first element only gets a prefix if there's more than one, but the second element always gets a prefix. And now, when we start bonding, we also change the name of the second element. So it no longer is just the element name, it has an IDE ending. So oxygen would become oxide, chlorine would become chloride. And then we're going to need to work on memorizing these prefixes, these mathematical numbers. Some of them you're familiar with. 1 is mono, 2 is di, 3 is tri, 4 is tetra, but you have to just practice with these. Okay, so here are my 3 rules again. Number 1, the first element keeps its name. Whatever the element of the name, the name of the element is, it stays the same. It doesn't change. And we're going to put a prefix on it if there's more than one. Step 2, we're always going to add a prefix to our second element. And step 3 is the second element always changes to an IDE ending. So let's take a look at our first example. NO has 1 nitrogen and 1 oxygen. They're both nonmetals, so I know it's covalent. The first element keeps its name, so we're just going to call it nitrogen. No prefix is needed since there's only one. The second element gets a prefix, even if there's only one. Always a prefix on the second element. So the prefix for 1 is mono. So now we have monooxygen. But because it's bonded, we're going to change the ending of that second element to IDE, and it'll become monoxide. And then we're going to put it together. Nitrogen monoxide or nitrogen monoxide. We often drop that extra O sound. And that's it. Let's take a look at another example. SF6. S is the element sulfur. You'll use the periodic table to find it. There's only one sulfur, so no prefix is needed. The second element always gets a prefix. There's 6. Go to our chart. 6 is hexa. So this is hexafluorine. And we're going to change that ending. Fluorine becomes fluoride. So we get sulfur hexafluoride. One more. Here's N2O. Now the first element has 2, so we do need a prefix. Anything more than 1, the first element gets a prefix. We have 2 nitrogens. This is going to be dinitrogen. The second element always gets a prefix. There's 1, so we're going to call it monooxygen. And then we're going to change that ending to monoxide. And that's it. Here are just some other examples. Pause it for a little bit and take a look at them. Now, you also have to be able to do this backwards. So given a name, can you write a formula? And it's actually easier, I think, because all you have to do is find the elements and then decipher the prefix. So this first one, nitrogen, its symbol is N. Tri means 3. And fluoride is the element fluorine. So we just get NF3. Here's another example, tetraphosphorus trisulfide. Break it down. Tetra, prefix means 4. attach